So we just got off a 7-day cruise on Norwegian's newest ship, the Norwegian Aqua, and we're going to review everything from the embarkation process, the food, the entertainment, the activities on board. We're going to cover all of it.
All the way down to disembarkation.
Yeah, so let's get into it. The embarkation process was quick and easy. I really like how Norwegian boards people by zones and they give everyone a little tag that tells them what their zone is. I think as long as you show up within reason of your boarding time, you're going to go without any wait. I think by the time we got dropped off from the taxi, even we did a couple drone shots for you guys, and we were still on the ship within about 15 minutes. So really impressive, really liked the embarkation from Norwegian.
Okay, so now we're going to get into what really matters, the food. So I made a few notes, and so I kind of broke them down into like pros and cons. So for pros, I would say there was a ton of variety. So you could go to local, which was a 24/7 place. You could grab snacks, handhelds. You ate there a lot.
Yeah, I let Kayla keep going, but I really loved the variety of food options on board. But
then you had the Indulge Food Hall, which was a super cool kind of new thing that no one's really done yet. Had the technology with the iPads. You could order from multiple restaurants in one spot. So I liked the idea of Indulge. They had your general buffet that you could go to. They had main dining that you could go to. They had specialty restaurants, like a ton of specialty restaurants. So that was one of my pros. Another pro for me was that they had a gluten-free pizza for me in the buffet, which I love. And it wasn't bad. It was decent. It wasn't my top 3, but it was good, and I liked having the option. Indulge Food Hall, like we said, was great, and a hack that we learned from another cruiser was that they also serve breakfast, and it's similar to what you'll get at the buffet, minus the craziness and the crowds.
yeah, if you go right when they opened, it was an absolute ghost town, and it was like nice and peaceful. Whereas like we had just come from the buffet, and it was like every man for himself, just absolute chaos in there. And so it was a really good tip that we received.
So we're going to share it. We're going to pass it on. Another pro about the Indulge Food Hall that we really liked, and it was something so small, but it really was just a nice touch, was that they had cutlery and napkins like right there at the table. You weren't trying to balance your plate and your cutlery and your drinks. Like,
I know.
It was just there at the table for you.
I really like that, because if you're like me, you're going through the buffet, you got drink in one hand, plate in one hand, and you're like, crap, cutlery. So you just shove the thing in your pocket while you're walking to your table. But this way, it was already there. I really liked that. That was nice.
It was thoughtful. Just a thoughtful little touch. The other good pro is the drink service was really fast most days. Those bartenders were pumping out drinks, even in the restaurants. Like, we got drink service fairly quickly.
We never had to wait very long, I would say.
Another highlight that we're going to talk about a little bit later in more depth, but they had a sustainable drink menu, which I loved. I thought that was so cool, innovative, really happy about that. And they had a nice selection of breakfast spots open on Disembarkation Day, so it wasn't just the main dining room and the buffet. They actually had local, which was open for a nice sit down. Like, we were able to sit down and enjoy breakfast on Disembarkation Day, and I don't feel like that's usually the case.
It was nice to have we even sat outside. It was just like a peaceful way to end the trip. Yeah. But talking more a little bit, if you don't have allergies, locals is going to be your kingdom, like it was for me, because I had a great burger there. I recommend the Wrangler burger. The Reuben sandwich was like, oh, I wish I had more time after I discovered it, because it was so good. And then, it was great for wings, late night snack. We just sat at the bar and had wings. It was so good.
Nachos, fries,
So I don't really know, that was only our second Norwegian cruise, so I don't really know what happened to Oceans, but I'm assuming that kind of replaced it on the newer ships. But it feels, besides for it not being as much as a pub atmosphere, it feels like it was a good addition. Another thing, all around, I thought the food was impressive on this ship, but another thing I'll talk about is the main dining room. I really thought the service was pretty good. We had about an hour to an hour and a half kind of average dinner service. And actually on this ship, we had great drink service, because normally I find that maybe they're so busy, or I don't know what happens, but you tend to get that first glass of wine and then you never see them again. So this guy was all over us. We got
the opposite problem.
We got accidentally wasted, and we had 2 bottles of wine. It was fantastic. So really appreciated the drink service, and the speed of the food coming in was great.
And we're ending our little food high note with probably my highlight of the cruise, which was the specialty dining Los Lobos.
Guys, Kayla could have ate here every night.
I would have eaten there every night, and I would have got the same thing, because it was so good. We got the tableside guacamole. Little cart pulls up right beside your table. Handmade guacamole right there, fresh. Chips, salsa.
Yep.
We got the queso dip too.
Oh, guys, it came on this like hot pan of queso, and you're just...
And it was melty cheese, not like the liquid cheese. It was like actual cheese. And I could have just eaten that and been happy, but we got tacos. They made me a tortilla soup that was super good. You had the fajitas. Like, the food was a 10 out of 10, and it was one of their cheaper specialty restaurant cover charges. It was $40 per person, and we ate a good amount of food.
I was 6 months pregnant after that meal. We had to go back to the room and just take a breather.
So that's kind of a good segue into the cons section of the food. Was I found that the a la carte or the specialty restaurants didn't have a ton of options, especially for me with allergies. So they didn't have any a la carte options. So if I was going to go to a restaurant, I had to pay a full cover charge. And in a lot of restaurants, like at Sukhothai, it was $50 cover charge, and I asked them what they could make for me, and it was pad thai and maybe a salad. So to me, that's not worth $50. So that was hard. Same with sushi. I would be able to get like a vegetarian like sushi roll and maybe some edamame.
Yeah.
But, like, that's also not worth $50. So that was hard for me. I either wish they had a la carte options if you can't eat as many of the options as most people can, or having maybe a reduced fee for people with allergies who can eat one thing. I don't know how they fix that.
I did find it strange, like especially with the sushi, how they didn't have an a la carte option, because $50 a sushi, guys, that's a lot of sushi. That's a lot of food. Not a lot of people can get their money's worth with that. And especially if you just have like one roll and like maybe a starter, you're like good to go. So I would like to see them implement the a la carte option. And the other con we'll go over was in the Surfside Cafe, which is their buffet on board. And I would say the selection was pretty weak. I generally thought the food was good, but there wasn't much there in terms of like what you could get, especially like traveling with Kayla and having allergies again. So she just wasn't anything there. Like she'd come back with fries or nachos like half the time.
I did eat a lot of fries and nachos on this cruise.
Yeah, and I found the flow of the buffet very bad. Like it's just one long corridor, and then picture like 500 people trying to get food at the same time, and there's scooters, and it's just an absolute nightmare in there. So that's why we really liked having the other areas to eat on board, because the buffet is just not really a pleasant place to be. Okay, next we'll talk about the drinks. First, I'm going to cover the pool drinks. I do think that they're lacking a bit in, I don't know, fun a little bit, because they don't do very many frozen drinks there. They have the 2 frozen drinks that are like pre-made, like you see the pina colada mix and like maybe the strawberry daiquiri mix, and then
they had a mango one too.
Yeah, and then that's about it. Like they won't go out of their way. If you ask, for example, I think I mentioned this last time, but if you ask for like a frozen mojito, for example, they make regular ones, but they won't do a frozen one for you. And all you have to do is blend ice. So that's kind of weird. I didn't really like that. But other than that...
It was a step up from the Pearl.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the only other Norwegian ship we've done. That one I was super underwhelmed with drinks. So I think it's definitely a step up from that class of ship, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's still room for some improvement.
Yeah. And again, like other than that, I was like super happy with the service, the speed, the drink service around the pool was amazing. And... I just like that you can order 2 drinks at a time, so you just don't have to get up as much and that sort of thing. So I really appreciate that.
That's a good point, actually. The 2 drinks at a time was clutch for you, because as you guys know, Ryan drinks things in 10 seconds. I was going to say one thing that they added, which I really liked, and I thought that it helped keep things moving at the bars, was they had like drinks on tap, like cocktails on tap.
Yeah,
they had
that was interesting.
Red Bubbles and like a tequila Funshine and some whiskey orchard drink. And it was nice because you get a mixed cocktail that tastes the same every time. Like not one time is it going to be too much vodka and then the next time it won't. And it was easy for the bartenders to just pump those out super easily. And they were good.
Okay, next we'll talk about some of the bars on the inside of the ship. So our favorite one by far was the Metropolitan Bar. It was beautiful in there. They had live music going every night. But specifically, we enjoyed their cocktails there. It was like innovative, fun, delicious.
Sustainable.
My favorite drink there was the cucumber cool and the watermelon twist. But that one's really spicy, so be careful. And they also had like an iPad menu. Now you couldn't order it like the Indulge, but you could click the cocktail, see all the ingredients, and maybe like a little description about it to get you excited about what you're about to try. So that was fun, and it was right by all the specialty dining restaurants, so it was a great like pre-dinner cocktail spot.
One of the things I liked about the iPad too, in that bar specifically, was they have their sustainable drink menu, and I think it's, you click on it and it has different drinks like from your classic cocktails that you would normally get. And not only did it explain to you like how the drink is sustainable, it actually showed a video. So for like your watermelon twist ones, when they're making things and let's say they're putting watermelon in the buffet, whatever doesn't get eaten or whatever would normally get thrown away gets repurposed into like a cordial or a garnish, or it gets, they do a lot of stuff with what would normally end up in the garbage. And I think that's a really cool
Yeah, I think it's just
idea.
interesting. Yeah, it's kind of, I didn't even know like they could do that.
The flavors were so spot on. Like the watermelon was watermeloning, and the cucumber was cucumbering. Like it wasn't a simulated flavoring. It was real fruit, and I really appreciated that a lot.
And just generally speaking about the bars, like again, the whole ship was really beautiful. I really enjoyed a lot of the spots that they had around the ship. I feel like most of the bars you went there and it felt like a different experience, which Kayla and I are really big fans of. We don't want bar A to feel exactly the same as bar B. So they did a really good job. I was really impressed. They had a Belvedere bar in the atrium. In the
bar.
Penrose atrium, there's a bar. They had a whiskey bar. They had a swirl wine bar, which was always super quiet. It's like no one even knew it existed.
It's a bit of a hidden gem.
Yeah, it was a great place to get like extra wine selection and have an actual conversation. And then they had probably my second favorite bar, because Metropolitan was number one, but was the Soleil bar on the aft. So this was a quieter bar, and it was
Covered.
overlooking the aft of the ship, so you can like check out the wake, and it's covered. So one of the days it was rainy, but we made the most of it because we went back there and hung out. So definitely check out the Soleil bar. It's beautiful.
Okay, so now we'll kind of dive into the ship itself and the ship overall. So we immediately, when we got on, we were like, wow, this ship is modern. It's beautiful. There's tons of windows and like the little touches in the artwork, and not even just like the painting artwork, but like the physical installations, like a lot of lights, a lot of sculptures, a lot of little things that just really, it was a wow factor.
Yeah, everywhere we went, guys, it was just like, wow. And then you just like start noticing the details, and you're just like, they didn't even need to do that, but they went ahead and did it anyway. And it just like added so much beauty to the ship. It felt so elegant, fine. It's like a really big step up from when we did on the Norwegian Pearl. Like I was absolutely blown away.
It was almost as if we were sailing on like a piece of art.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. The loungers at the pool, I also really liked, because they all came with a headrest. It wasn't just for certain areas.
Yeah.
I liked that little bit of elegance, by the pool, and everyone's comfortable.
That was a huge win. Actually, the seating on this ship was 10 out of 10. Everywhere you went, comfortable, different, just like the right seats at the right place. Very beautiful, and just, they even had these like day beds. Of course, you couldn't get one unless you woke up at 5 a.m. But I liked the idea of maybe getting one day. But
and I like that they were free. They weren't trying to upsell them to you for like $100 a day or anything like that. They did have areas where, in the adults area where I'm sure they charge you for cabanas and stuff. But these ones, if you got there, they were yours, and that was great. In the stateroom, when we walked in, it was very minimal, but it was super modern, super clean. Like there wasn't a lot of wasted stuff. Which on a 7-day, I feel like there was enough storage for us.
yeah, there was.
But I don't know. It depends on how heavy of a packer you are. You might be missing a few drawers here and there. But we bring those little hooks, and we loved the room. We thought it was super clean, super model, nice bathroom.
I was going to say, my favorite thing about the stateroom was the bathroom. It was, again, probably a 10 out of 10. The sink was big. It had good storage in the bathroom, and the shower was, I could, do jumping jacks in there. Like, it was great. It was a complete walk-in glass shower, and it had like a rainfall kind of water pressure thing, and that was good too.
Yeah, the rainfall shower head was actually really nice. The pressure was pretty good. One other thing that I liked, and I wish they had more of them, was they had these like water bottle filling stations, like at the airport where you put your tumbler under and it tells you how many plastic bottles you've saved. So we saw one in the spa, and we saw one in the buffet. And I don't know, you can let us know in the comments, were there other ones that we missed? Because it was hard to get water sometimes.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm going to talk about in our cons after was the ice and water machines. But I really liked the water bottle filling stations. I thought they were great. They were easy. You could get water. You know, if you bring one of these, you're good for
Yeah.
like, you know, a couple hours.
Luckily, we brought those. It just feels like Norwegian's trying to dehydrate me or something. Because it's like, why is it so hard to get water? Like, you know, you have to wait in a bar line to get a glass or go up to the buffet.
Or drink from the tap, because someone did point that out, that you can drink the tap water in your
Yeah.
room. So
But
thank you.
thank God for these big water bottles we carried around, because anytime we pass one, that's when we get our water. But I don't understand why you can't get a water bottle, but you can get like a Coke or like an energy drink on the drink package. So, and talk about that another time.
Otherwise, overall, the staff noticed they were all super friendly. They seemed happy to be there. Like, we had really great service. I don't think I saw one crew member.
Yeah, no, they were great.
They were so lovely.
We have a huge list of shout outs for the survey.
We do. So now we're going to do the flip side of that and some cons about the ship.
Yeah.
My biggest con, I think.
Everybody's biggest con, I can tell you this already.
We've talked to some people in the pools, is that there was not enough pools for this size of ship.
Yeah.
You had your main pool, which was a decent sized pool.
Yeah.
And then you had those two side infinity pools, which were small but nice. I feel like they were missing one more pool
Yeah.
in the back or something.
Me too, guys. Like on Embarkation Day, I'm okay with the pool looking a little crazy. But that was the same thing every day. Like, you didn't even want to get in because you'd be like touching shoulders with somebody else and there's kids splashing around and you're just like, oh my God, this like does not look pleasant at all. I'm actually slightly uncomfortable. So and then you're like, oh, okay. So everyone's kind of feeling that way. So they're like, let's go down to the infinity pools. Well,
Same thing.
now that's jam-packed. And there's like 30 people in like a 5-foot radius pool. You're like, oh my God. So we started when on really hot days, because we had amazing weather, I would even like go into the shower and rinse off because I just would rather do that than go into the pool. So that was the worst thing about probably the ship for me.
I think they had beautiful pools. I think they just needed to add another one. Now, that being said, they did have the Vibe Beach Club, which is the adults only area that you could pay to go to, and that had 2 additional pools. I think
Those were
pools,
hot
or were they
tubs, I
hot tubs?
think. Yeah. But the Haven has a beautiful aft pool, so if you're going to shell
have
out
the
some money, you're going to get a good one. But I would say, Kayla was right, the pools are absolutely stunning. The glassless infinity pool over the side of the ship, 10 out of 10. The main pool, having the like pool before the pool, I like to call it, 10 out of 10. Loved it. So there's some good and some bad there.
I feel like I'm wondering if they've already constructed the Luna, or if they're going to take this feedback, because it seems like everyone seems to think the same thing. Like, will they add another pool? I hope so. So kind of tying into that, first con is the adults area that I mentioned. So there is a paid option that you can pay to go to Vibe Beach Club and have an adults only area. I was really missing a free adults area on the ship.
Yeah, I did not expect there to be no adults area, because even when we were on the Pearl, the pool had an adults only pool
Right
kind
beside it.
of right beside it, yeah. So to not see one at all was a bit of a shock. I would say though, like on deck 8, when we're talking about the infinity pools, that tended to be more adults only there, because there's just nothing for kids down there. So that's kind of how it shaped out. Okay, next we're going to talk about the entertainment activities and some of the nightlife on board. Starting off, the sail away party was an absolute riot. Good time.
Good music.
They had like kind of I don't know what to call them, like a fun squad out there, getting the people going. The cruise director was kind of funny and getting people riled up. That was great. And they had some music going and some little contests and that sort of thing. So a lot of fun. I would say like 10 out of 10, but we'll say like it's in the 9s somewhere.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah,
so.
it was really good. We had a lot of fun. And then the first show that we went to was Prince show. Can't remember the exact name, but it was geared towards Prince. For me, like not being like a huge Prince fan, I just thought it was pretty good. Maybe I'll let Kayla talk about it a little bit more, but I would say that the costumes were phenomenal. The singing and dancing, obviously phenomenal. I just think personally, if I was a bigger fan, not that I'm not, I just, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I might have missed it. So if I was a bigger fan, I would have liked it more. I know a lot of other people did.
I did. So I actually grew up a little bit in the 80s. You barely
Yeah.
made the cut. But I grew up listening to Prince. We did a lot of dance competitions to Prince songs, so I knew most of the songs. That being said, there was a few in there that I was like, oh, we could have exchanged that one for this one. And there's a couple ones I was expecting to hear that I didn't. But I really enjoyed it. Like Ryan said, the costumes were absolute fire. The singers and dancers, like some of those Prince songs are hard to sing, and they killed it. So it was definitely worth checking out.
And the other show we did, which was our most, I don't know, famous or biggest show on board, was the Elements show, The World Expanded, I believe it's called. The guys.
It lived up to the hype.
You got to see this one, okay? I don't want to give too many spoilers. And we weren't allowed to take videos, which was very upsetting. But they make you feel all the elements. And that goes without saying that the singers, dancers, and costumes and the stage and everything was amazing. But just, it was different and immersive, and stuff was coming down from the ceiling. Just make sure, don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Check out Elements.
Now, that being said, too, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in our cons, you have to make sure you get a reservation. So make sure to do that immediately, if not sooner.
Okay, that covered the entertainment. We'll talk about the activities next, which the activities that I'm going to talk about are probably Norwegian Aqua's strength, I would say, because there's so much stuff to do, especially for the kiddos, but we had fun too. First off, they had a really like immersive mini putt course where it like you put the ball down and it would like track your shots and it keeps scores for you, and then like it would show you like leaderboard on the ship and all time like scores. I thought that was like a really cool way. The only thing I'd say is it wasn't free, which was a huge downside, because if you have like, let's say
Family
mom and dad
of 5?
and 2 kids, or family of 5, you're paying $25 for a round of mini putt. So that was kind of weak, but the actual course itself, a lot of fun, different. It kind of felt like a little bit of maxi golf from Happy Gilmore 2 in there. It was fun. It was good. Next we'll talk about kind of the biggest, like fanciest, newest thing would be the slide coaster, which I don't know if you've seen, but it's kind of like a roller coaster / water slide. You get in the tube and this like, I don't know, metal hook thing comes up behind you and it like launches you into space, basically. You're going like light speed up, and it's the first 5-6 seconds are the most entertaining part. Then it's kind of just a lazy
Water
cruise
slide.
down the slide. It's not, you're kind of like, okay,
This is cool.
yeah. But the first 5 seconds, you're gonna have a blast, and it's definitely worth doing. The lineup wasn't like too long. I think maybe we waited 15 minutes on a C day. I would recommend going as soon as it opens.
Well, we actually went a few minutes before it opened just to see if we could get some B-roll of the slide coaster, and they were letting people on early.
Yeah.
So get there a little early, see if you can beat the rush.
Another really cool thing, really like innovative and like technology based, was the glow court. It was basically, think of what I was telling you with the mini putt, how it had the scores and the leaderboard and that sort of thing. Well, now it goes into the glow court. Essentially, it can be a basketball court, soccer court, or just kind of
Games, like
like,
virtual.
yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you have to hit markers on the ground that glow. So anyway, it was really fun. Kayla and I were sweating buckets doing it.
You get
And
20 minutes,
yeah.
and we were running
And
all of those 20 minutes.
we were getting kind of competitive some games, and then some games we were working together. So we just had a blast. So no matter what age you are, just go check it out for fun.
So I'll talk about the other activity that we did because I did it. Hopefully we don't release this before the vlogs because it will spoil things, but I did the drop slide. I don't know what I was thinking when I let you talk me into that. I really worked myself up in the line because the people in front of me started to get a little nervous, and then it started to rub off on me, and then I started to be second guess
Guys,
everything.
she was like, okay, you can do this. You can do this.
I was trying to like, get myself jacked up to go. It ended up being super fun. Like, it's so exhilarating. Like, I don't like when things drop out from under me.
Yeah.
It feels very unsafe.
That's
and I don't
essentially
like
what it is. It's you're standing in like a pod, and it
counts down.
It counts down. It's like 3, 2, 1, and then the floor drops right from under you. And then you go flying down like 11 decks or something like that.
I'd say it's kind of similar to the slide coaster in where those first few seconds you're like, oh my god, and you get that stomach flip and you're, and then you hit these little bumps that kind of slow you down a little, which is always fun because you can hear everyone
Yeah.
going through the slide going, and then it shoots you right out at local, which is kind of a perfect landing spot because that's, I think we went for a snack right after.
And the last thing we wanted to talk about for activity was the arcade. This is the best arcade I've ever seen on a ship.
Easy.
And the really cool highlights, I would say, is one, it's really spacious, which is nice because normally they're really crowded. And I would say, two, they had like not full lane bowling, but maybe like half a lane. And although it was like $8, I think maybe $7.90 a person, I was happy with the amount of bowling that we got to do. We each got a full bowling game. So that was fun. And they also had a lot of VR games, new VR games. It was awesome. We did this one where you put the goggles on and you're basically like kind of in a roller coaster type scenario, but we were like fighting dragons and stuff. But you put the goggles on and then like the chair moves with you, and
It felt like we were dropping.
There's even a screen above, so if you're like putting your kid on there or like watching your spouse or something, you can like see what they're going through and have a laugh. It's good.
Well, you can see like when they go, oh my God, like you can see why they're saying it. So I really liked it. It was only $5.
For both of us, like not each, so that was good.
Okay, so that was a lot of pros, but now we're going to move in because there were a few cons. So biggest con for me, 100%, was the app. Okay, so you cannot book shows or dining on the app. You have to do it on day one when you get there. And so as soon as we got on, that's what we did. We went and found the line, and the line was insane.
Yeah, it had to been like a 2-hour line, guys.
Nobody wants to spend the first 2 hours of their cruise waiting in line.
I don't understand. Okay, if you're not going to let us reserve before the cruise, that's fine. But once we're on the ship's Wi-Fi, let us book reservations. I don't understand why you feel the need to have this massive line and a bad experience for all the cruisers on day one. I just don't get it. Like, who's making that decision? But anyway.
That guy, whoever it is, they got to go. Because people were not thrilled about it.
Yeah,
obviously.
Everyone was pissed.
And I agree. So we looked at the line and we were like, I mean, we have to create content. We can't be standing in line for 2 hours to get a show that we can't even show you.
YouTube or not, I would not wait in that line.
I mean, now that I've seen Elements, I'd be like, But so we'll give you a few tips here. So what we did so the main shows that you have to book are like the Wheel of Fortune and The Price is Right. Those were like kind of the game shows that people really wanted reservations for because you could win things, and it's a big deal. We didn't go to them. We didn't really miss them.
No.
But for Elements, what we did was I figured it would be one of those situations where people will book a reservation and then they'll either, be late from dinner and not make it, or maybe they change their mind and they don't go, and you can kind of sneak in and take their spot. So I just kind of went, I think it was about an hour before the show, and I just asked the person, I said, hey, did anyone make a reservation and not show up? Then I can steal their spot. Yeah. And so they just asked, how many in your party? I said 2, and they let us in.
It was perfect.
I'd say it's the exception and not the rule, so don't go in expecting that to work, but it's worth a try.
I guess this kind of ties into, it's one of the biggest cons on the ship as well, has to do with the theater size. It is itsy bitsy in there, and a lot of the shows, it's kind of cool, but they like take away the first half of the seating there because they are like expanding the
We talk about that a little bit in our next portion, but it is cool.
I'll wait.
But that being said, the seating is super limited. A big chunk of it is reserved for Haven guests. So there was one show that we went to that, like, I don't know, other than Haven, I was like, who's here? Because the whole section was for Haven.
The whole middle section was reserved. It was insane.
So that was a little rough. You have to get there so early. The line started at least an hour, if not a little bit before, an hour before the show, which is wild. The other con for me was part of the nightlife, which was one night they had a 80s party, and then the next night they had a 70s party, and then the next night they had a 90s party. And I was like, dude, just combine them into one party. Let people pick their decade, play songs from each decade, and then put other fun nightlife things.
It's like, what should we do next? Let's do a 60s party.
Yeah,
it's
like when do we cut it off?
Like, where's their creativity? There was no silent disco, which I feel like is a good party to have.
Great party.
And we'll talk about the white party probably, but we got rained out, so we didn't have that.
That was one of my cons, was that they moved it because it was raining, which we understand. it happens, but they didn't really communicate
Mm-hmm.
it at all. Like, there was no announcement made, and unless you went outside onto the pool deck where you could see the television that says it's been moved to the improv
Yeah.
lounge, 90% of us didn't know. We all went back to our
I think
rooms.
too, it might have been like at least a half hour past when they made the decision to move it too. So like we'd
People
already
gave
given up. Yeah. And then besides for the like the night activities and parties, just the nightlife in general just felt pretty tame. There wasn't that there wasn't stuff going on. There was like little bits of live music and that
Yeah,
sort of
the
thing,
DJ.
but nothing got me like excited to go to it. It wasn't like, for example, when we were on like Utopia of the Seas, which is like obviously geared towards a party ship, we're like, oh my god, we have to go to this, we have to go to this, and we were like running to get to the event. There was nothing. It was like, oh, we missed trivia. Okay, no big deal. Like, so nothing got me excited, is what I'll say.
Oh, and I'm just thinking now too, they did these shows in the atrium, like the Perfect Couple and stuff, where
Yeah.
they put up like 20 folding chairs, and it's right outside of the casino.
I know. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
The seating was not conducive to the amount of people that were there to watch the show. B, you're kind of in the way of people gambling. They're trying to,
Yeah.
get through, and there's a show happening, and you can't see.
You're in the casino. Like it's so weird. Like it should have been done at like the Improv, which is the comedy club on board,
Or the theater.
or anywhere else would have been fine.
Yeah, it was just a weird spot to do them, and it wasn't an enjoyable experience to go see those shows.
Yeah. Now the experience wasn't fun, but I'd say the cruisers in the shows were hilarious. We
Yes.
had some good laughs.
Kudos to anybody who gets up there and,
Yeah.
embarrasses themselves a little, because it's for our entertainment and you're doing God's work.
Next, we'll talk about something I thought was like really cool. We had this conversation on the ship. It was like, wow, normal cruise ships like Average Joe's, and this Norwegian ship's like Globo Gym, because it has like everything is like obviously new, but they've really advanced the technology. And I'm even talking about like the gym itself. Everything, it was like beautiful screens and fancy and all these like upgraded things.
The lighting on the floor when you walked in
Yeah,
was like, ooh.
And then they had like the glow cord and the Indulge with the iPads, and then they had the iPad menus, and then actually the theater had some really cool like technology stuff.
The lighting in the theater was
Yeah.
like part of the show. It was like a
Yeah.
blooming onion.
Yeah, it was so cool. So I'd say like they really like it leveled up, I think, and I was really impressed with how well the technology was integrated. But that's kind of ironic because the app is the worst goddamn thing I've seen.
Yeah,
In all
it's,
times.
it's funny to think about it, because like the theater, although it was tiny, they had seats that retracted into themselves. So when you were in theater mode, they had all the chairs out. And then when it was time to switch it up for a party or do something, all the seats kind of retracted. And I was like, well, that was really cool and technologically advanced. But then the app is
Yeah.
the worst app at sea. I don't know. If you guys are Norwegian cruisers, like, do you think this too? Or do you just not know any different because you are Norwegian and loyal and you haven't seen a good app? I don't, what's the vibe?
Here's something about the app that I hope I'm wrong. I hope we misunderstood. Because we got 150 minutes with the Wi-Fi, right? And then it says, okay, you have 150 minutes of Wi-Fi remaining. Then it says you have 10 minutes on the app remaining.
I
So,
ran out of app time
You
on
can't
day
even
one.
like go on there to check the freestyle daily, or I don't even know what you're supposed to do on that app because it's pointless. But if I wanted to, like maybe look at the deck plans or something, you only have 10 minutes.
Because then I tried to go back on it. It wasn't even an option to click on anymore. It was just gone.
Yeah.
So
And they still don't have a chat feature, and it's just like, oh my god, guys, like who's in charge of the app? I want to speak to them.
yeah, because I feel like the app, it needs just like major overhaul and improvement to make it easier. Because we're going on a vacation. We don't want to work that hard
Yeah.
on our vacation. And I feel like the app is more work than it's worth.
Oh, another, not to hammer home about the app stuff, but at local, when you go to the restaurant, they will give you a little physical like restaurant style buzzer to let you know when your table's ready. Well, for example, Carnival, probably for like 10 years now, has already had like an app notification system that just lets you know when your table's ready. So it's like that's something that's so simple, and now I don't have to walk around with this buzzer thing. It's like, come on, let's
Yeah.
fix this.
With all the technology on this ship, the app is just, yeah, it's a bit of a letdown for us. And it seems like others feel this way too. So lastly, we're going to talk about disembarkation. And I have to say, I really enjoyed disembarking the ship because I thought the way they did it was really organized. So the night before, you get like this booklet and it tells you what's open for breakfast at what time. It told you what different color of baggage tag you could choose depending on what time you wanted to get off the ship. So if you wanted to self-disembark, you could get off right away at 6:45. If you wanted to be the last one on the ship till 9:15, you could get the blue tag and all the way in between. And then they just called colors and you'd go collect your bags. And so we picked the 9:15 time. We slept in, we packed a little, we had a nice breakfast, we sat by the pool, and then we got off, and it was just very lovely.
I really appreciated that all the alternative food options that we mentioned previously in this video were open for breakfast, and they were open fairly early. Some is open early as 5 a.m. So we did really like that. We had a really nice, relaxing disembarkation day. And I would say, though, like collecting your luggage area, that is an absolute nightmare. Like they need to maybe restructure that, because you'll just see when you go. Like,
you'll see a lot of people standing in the aisle, so you can't really get through, and then people can't find their bags, and so it's very congested, similar to the buffet. There's one aisle, and all the people trying to get off at the same time, trying to find their bags. It's a bit of a last minute.
Okay, finally we'll do like an overall summary. I thought the new Norwegian Aqua was amazing. I'm going to give this like maybe like an 8.9. It doesn't quite meet the 9s out of 10. There was some problems, some big chunks that took it off for me was the reservation experience, the adult-only area or lack of another pool option. That's probably my main complaints, as well as the app. But what did you think?
I was just thinking there. I was trying to do some math in my head to see like what my number would be. I feel like
maybe a little lower for you.
For me, it's definitely lower. I would say it was probably 7.95.
Oh, quite a bit lower. Does that have to do a lot with food?
It has a lot to do with the fact that I couldn't really enjoy any of the specialty dining because I wasn't willing to overpay for one item.
Yeah.
I had to put in my order at least 24 hours before I ate anywhere, because apparently it takes them 24 hours to boil gluten-free pasta. I don't know. So that was hard. So there was no like, I feel like this right now, let's go get it. I didn't have that at all. The food overall that I did eat was good, but there was just those things. And then Indulge Food Hall, I could have, nachos. And at Local, I could have a basket of French fries. So it was limiting for me with my specific allergies. So that was tough for me.
Yeah.
Reservations, like you said, the app is, to me, it's a joke. They should just get rid of it. And then the not lack of pool, but I just feel like we didn't spend as much time at the pool as we normally do on our vacation, because it was so congested and
it was uncomfortable
busy
there.
and uncomfortable. So that for me is the 7.5.
And I'd like to see a little more parties too. So, yeah.
Yeah, not even just parties, just like fun activity. Oh, the one that we did that I didn't expect to like was like that trivia one where you're kind of standing in the middle of the room and they give you two options of like, they ask you a question, they give you a right answer and a wrong answer, you have to walk to either side.
Yeah.
I played 3 rounds.
Yeah, it was like an innovative, fun, new way to do trivia, and that was good. It was nice to see something new.
And it wasn't like a huge party, but like you were, bonding with your other cruisers, and it's like a good way to meet people and have some laughs, and I really like that. So it doesn't have to be like, a rager or anything to be fun.
I do think like if you're coming on for your first cruise, you're going to be blown away at just how the ship looks, the food, what your kids can do with all those like activities I mentioned. So that's why my score is a bit higher. If you're like a seasoned cruiser and you're used to getting certain benefits, I guess, with like the app and the adult only and stuff, you may hate it.
Yeah.
So just take it with what you will, and that was our opinion. So we'd love to know yours. So please let us know down in the comments. Have you gone on the Aqua? Are you going? And what did you think about some of our comments? But that's it.
Did we have anything wrong? Like, did we just mess up or something like? So we'll do it right for the next one, because we're on the Luna next year.
If you want to see everything there has to know about Norwegian, you're going to check out our 7-day vlog that we did. We also did something we didn't talk about, but we did the thermal suite, and we doing a ship tour for you guys, and then you have this review, so you can get all your research done in one place just by liking and subscribing and following along. You can also follow us on Instagram at Ride and Kayla. If you go on there, you can see like Kayla's pinned all our live stories from the Norwegian Aqua, so you could check out what that's like.
I posted all the answers to the Q&A. I answered every single one of your questions. And they're all there, findable on Instagram.
Yeah, and then if you liked any of Kayla's outfits, because she gets asked quite frequently, we put a affiliate link in the description below. And
just allows me to put all the outfits I've purchased into a little store, so if you like what you saw, you can scroll through and buy it if you want.
And finally, if you want to see the videos before anyone else, or just a fun way to support the channel, maybe you're big Ryan and Kayla fans or just cruising fans in general, we appreciate and love all our current subscribers and members. Thank you so much. But that is it for our Norwegian Aqua review. We're going on a cruise tomorrow to Celebration Key, so can't wait to share that with you after.